Key things to remember. Anytime you're preparing to use a chop saw, make sure you have the proper PPE. Our standard PPE is a hard hat, a high-vis vest, safety glasses, and gloves. In addition to that, with the chop saw, you want to use a face shield to protect your face and eyes. Also, make sure you have a water truck, a water hose, or at least a fire extinguisher available and nearby whenever you're attempting to cut steel, concrete, or clay pipe. When cutting steel pipe, you need to be cautious of sparks. If sparks occur and you happen to be in dry vegetation, sparks could start a fire and that fire could spread rapidly. The hazard with cutting clay and concrete pipe comes in the dust that's created. Using a water hose adapter reduces the hazard of dust and debris coming off the pipe. Typically, a diamond blade is used for cutting clay, concrete, and asphalt. When attempting to cut PVC style pipe, an abrasive cutoff disc is most commonly used. Whenever you're attempting to change the blade from one type of pipe to another, it's best practice to use the manufacturer's supplied tools and the recommended cutting blades. Use gloves to protect your hands from getting cut by the blades while you're changing from one blade to another. Loosen the bolt, pull off the plates, and remove the blade. And now install the new cutting blade. Make sure that the outer flange or the outer washer collar goes in the right position so the cup is going downwards towards the blade to hold it into place securely. And lastly, you want to attach the locking nut. You put that onto the spindle and turn it clockwise to tighten. If you want to take the blade off, you turn it counterclockwise. The saying for that is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. An easy way to remember if you're tightening or loosening something. And the very last step is to make sure you put the tools back where you got them. Put them back into place so they're ready for the next time you'll need them. And just like returning the tool to its proper place, when you're done using the face shield, hang it on the side of the saw so it's up off the ground and it's there where the next person needs it, and it's safe and secure and the lens doesn't get scratched from being on the ground. Now let's put on our PPE and get ready to use the gas-powered chop saw.
This is a C900 pipe. This is your thick plastic pipe. They either have DR14 or DR18. This is DR14, so this is the thicker of the two. They both are used for water. DR14 is just a little bit thicker than DR18 and a little bit more expensive. Same thing as the SDR over there as far as cutting and beveling. It's the same thing. Cut it, you put a 1 foot mark. This pipe is used for domestic water and fire water, and sometimes forced sewer mains, but that's very rare. Either that or ductile. But yeah, basically for all your hydrant runs, your house connections, your main lines, all your house connections would come off of this with saddles, and this is your water, domestic and fire.
Okay, we're beveling the pipe, and Eric was saying that sometimes when it's a thicker pipe like this, he takes off a little bit, like you saw the trimming coming off there.
Yeah.
Some guys, when they bevel, they just hit the edge of the pipe to give it that little beveled end on there. The main thing is I'm trying to get this to go into the other end of the pipe where it's going to go in and match into that seal. So it needs to be able to go by that seal. If it's just a blunt straight into the pipe, it's not going to be able to go past that seal.
This pipe is used for storm drain and sewer. It's gravity, and it's either storm drain or sewer for this one. There's no other option for that, basically. And how you install it is basically you just get pipe soap, you lube up the rubber, you stick the spigot end right here inside the bell, and you slam it until you go past this line right here. That's when you know you've hit home.
And does it lock in place with this?
It's not a locking gasket, so you can still pull it apart. There are locking gaskets, but that's for ductile
so it's more
line.
sealing than it is
this
locking.
Is just for sealing.
Okay.
And that's just how you put them together.
So there's what the bevel side looks like.
Yeah. That's the bevel side.
And the whole reason is so it can fit into there.
This is the bevel side. So this little gasket here, in order to jump this gap right here, you have to bevel it. That pipe will go right over. With some lubricate, you'll be able to push it in. If you stick it in this way, there's a possibility that it goes in, but this, without beveling, can rip the gasket, and that's gonna cause us a leak on it. So that's not good. We have to bevel it. You see it? You see how sharp it is right here? This can cut the rubber and cause us a leak on it. So you don't want that. That's why you only go the minimum. It only takes a little bit to slide in. So when we're laying pipe, every time we have a fitting that we have to install, a valve or anything that we have to install, we cut our pipe. We usually cut a long piece. The end of it, it's gonna go into the fitting. And the only way is to find out if the pipe is all the way in, it's by marking it. So you're gonna mark the end of the pipe. You're gonna mark it 1 foot. 1 foot from the end. That way when you put it in there, you bar it in, you make sure that mark, this mark, the 1 footer, it's at the end of the pipe, it has to be at this point right here, because that's how far it is. That's how far it goes in, to this point right here. You can see the slope right here. So we're gonna stop this in here, so you guys can see how far it goes in. So what we usually do, when we're on the trench, we do this. We put some lube over here. We usually have some gasket like this in here. That's why we use the lube here. Put it in here. Push it in. That should be all the way in. Now what we do, the 1 foot mark, that means that's in, because this is right here. The gasket is right here. That means the pipe is all the way in here. So
even if you think you got it in there and that mark doesn't line up, that mark doesn't lie.
This line means a lot, because if you don't mark it, right there, you push it in, how do you know it's in? You don't.
Yep.
So that's why we mark it. Make sure we always mark it.
So whenever you're cutting the ductile steel pipe, you can get sparks. You want to make sure you either have a water truck by you or you want to have a fire extinguisher close by. You make sure you've checked your fire extinguisher that everything is in good working condition. Because sparks can fly and it can get out to a dry area. On here we're pretty clear, not a lot right around us, but you also want to watch out for vegetation.
This has been basic instructions for using a gas-powered chop saw for cutting and beveling pipe. Always consult the manufacturer's manual for all of the details on how to use their particular chop saw safely, and wear the right PPE.